Well, we finally got a foot of snow last night to hook up this SB48 and take it out and try it. First, I had to pull the mower deck off. I finally did get around to finishing mowing. You can see it was really wet out and nasty, but just wanted to show you these wheels I bought off of eBay. They really did hold up good for a whole season of mowing. Barely any wear on them. And there you can see that this was once I put the snowblower on, the front end of the Kubota was barely touching the ground, so decided to add some weight, and I figured that I'd try my I've got this bucket holder that goes on the front of the tractor, and figured I'd mount that and put a 5-gallon bucket on there. And I had one full of the Black Beauty from my sandblaster, and that bucket was probably about 60 pounds there, and then I put the rest, filled it up the rest of the way, and it probably turned out to be about 80 pounds, and that turned out that it really was not enough in the end. And you'll see in the video that I wound up going back and putting that bigger weight bucket on. That was a 7-gallon bucket with more sand in it. And here I took the decided to adjust the skids up one notch. I thought I didn't know if there'd be a problem with the gravel or not, and so I moved them up a notch, and then I actually flipped this lower wear bar here. For gravel, they said you have to just take the screws out, the bolts out there, and flip it 180 degrees over so that the taper is facing down, and that's supposed to make it ride up over gravel. In the end, it turned out that I really didn't need to adjust the skids up. They really do work good. Even in the gravel, they float on top, so I'm going to have to set them back down. Then for the winch motor, I decided to put some of this liquid tape stuff I like to use on things to waterproof them and weatherproof them. So decided to go back and just hit the wires on the winch motor there with a little bit of that, just in case, a lot of moisture is really going to get in it on this, the way it's being used and stuff. So figured that I'd seal them up good before I took it out and use it. And then I decided to run the wires back, and at first I tried running them right back and just plugging them to the cigarette lighter socket there on this Kubota, and turned out that the 10 amp fuse on it just couldn't hold the motor when you tried to stop the chute by hand. So I had to move that, and I just velcroed the remote control up on the top there. So here you can see I've spent a couple days moving stuff around in my barn too, so I could have room to get in there and work. And got my sawmill. I made a rack to put that 6 feet up in the air, or almost 7 feet up in the air. And then I got my dried lumber sitting there, one of my stacks of dried lumber. And this is the next morning after we got a foot of snow that night. You can see everything's really pretty and white out there, and I had to shovel my way to get down to the barn, and you can see there's just about a foot of snow here. It's kind of a wet, heavy snow because it's only like 32 degrees out or 31 degrees out, so it's not the best snow to blow, but open up the door, and here we are all ready to fire up the snowblower and give it its first try. I pretty much immediately noticed that once I started backing into the snow, and you got the extra weight of the snow on the blower and stuff, that there just definitely was not enough weight on the front of the tractor. And you can also see that they're leaving about 2 inches of snow there because the skids are actually too high. Those skids did not sink in like those Aaron skids did, cause problems. Pretty much amazed me how easily it actually went through this snow. The engine it didn't even really slow down going into it, so I guess this really wasn't a good amount of snow to test it with. We're going to have to wait for a good 2-foot storm, I guess, to really see how hard it'll work and what it does to the tractor. But it really it was quick and easy to use. You can see it's just I've got it in low gear now. I didn't try the high gear, but probably next time I will use the high gear when it gets some more weight on it. About my biggest problem was, you can see here, I'm fiddling with that winch. Turns out that little winch wireless remote control actually shuts off after about 1 minute of inactivity. So in the end, every time I wanted to turn the blower chute there, I had to hold on to that on button until the blue light came on again, and then I actually had to do the turning. So I think in the future I'm actually going to remove that wireless feature and just run a couple wires up there and hardwire those relays on the winch in, so it's an immediate action and I don't have to wait. But in the end, it really did work good. It did a good job of turning it. It turned it a nice pace for the blower and everything. So I'm real happy the way the winch works, but I'm just not happy the way the remote control did not stay active. Once you turn it on, it just, if it's dormant for a while, it just shuts off. So that was one thing that I'm going to have to fix. But basically, you can see there, it does do a good job at the snow. And it basically is fun to use after fighting with those Aaron's machines. So I think this thing's really going to be a winner in the end. I just have to figure out how to get about another 150 pounds on the front end there, so you can see how the four-wheel drive in the front really basically does nothing because the wheels are just kind of skimming off the ground when the blower is up. And it does take a little bit of getting used to coming up with the a scheme of how to blow it. It's all different trying to use this blower on the tractor than a walk behind. This one takes a little bit of planning, but it really does work good. Here you can see this is the hill that did that Aaron's in when it was brand new. Every time I went to do the hill, about halfway through it, the drive system would get soaking wet going up and down here, and basically you'd have to push it away and you were done. And this thing does it effortlessly. I find it easiest to just back up coming down the hill because that's the way I want to blow the snow off to the other side there, so it's the easiest for me, and then just go up and back up again. You can see it's probably about 33 degrees out, and the snow is actually starting to settle down now after a couple hours, and it's starting to get a little bit denser too and stuff, but the blower handled it no problems. The one thing about this blower is it only throws the snow probably about 25 feet, maybe 30 feet if you get the more snow you have in the bucket there as you're going back, the further it'll throw it turns out. But it does do a good job. It throws it really nice in a tight pattern, so you don't get a lot in the air the way the walk behinds that Aaron's just kind of fanned it out, so you got really a lot blown back at you and stuff. With this, it kind of throws it out as one nice stream, you can see. And in the end, that plastic shield that I made for the back of the tractor there actually worked out perfect. I thought I was going to have to put some sides on it or something like that later, but the snow, anything that has blown back so far pretty much has doesn't hit me operating it, but it does hit like the dashboard and stuff like that. So it is really nice having that shield. It did make a big difference, I think. And then you kind of have to, here I'm just doing the first half of the driveway. I decided that it would be easiest with this machine to break it up and do back down here and do this half of it first, then turn around and do the other part of it, and then just go back and clean up around the edges. And this video is all real time, so you can see in the end it took me about, I guess, a little over 20 minutes to complete the whole driveway, and that included doing a big section of my front yard and doing quite a bit more than I used to do with the old walk behind. So this definitely is a lot faster, and it turns out that it really is quite maneuverable too, so I'm really happy with it. And the snowblower is really a very smooth operating machine. I thought that once you got into snow with it, you'd start feeling it in PTO or the tractor, or vibrations or shakes or something like that, but basically there's none of that. It's just, you don't even, other than the weight, I mean, you know that the weight's here, but otherwise you really don't even know that it's on the back of the machine. It's just a very smooth operating piece of equipment, which really surprised me. But you can see the front end really is just way too light with it yet, so I have to get another 150 pounds on there somehow. I've got a bunch of cast iron rotors I might try piling on there just to see what the best number really is. And also I've ordered a set of chains for it. I didn't know if I'd need chains or not, but I ordered a set, so it looks like I'm going to be putting them on now because there is a little bit of slippage when you well, I don't know if it's caused because the front wheel drive really isn't working because of the lightness of the front end or what, but I'm planning on throwing them on for the next use, so you should see that. It turned out that the plastic shield worked out perfect like I said before, and I was going to put the backup camera on here, but I've decided against that now because it really is easy to use. I'm finding you just have to kind of look over your shoulder quickly, and I didn't realize just how fast this machine would do the whole driveway, so it doesn't take long at all, and it's not uncomfortable or anything like that because you're just using your toe to go backwards on with the hydrostatic drive on this. And there you can see I'm just going up the driveway there, and at the end there's a real dense pile that's about 18 inches high, and thing goes right through it, no problem. And as a matter of fact, it actually blows better once it hits those high piles. It seems like the more snow that you get filling the bucket up, the further that it actually will blow it without slowing down the machine or anything. So it seems like that's going to be a good thing. There's no fighting, there's no raising up, it just goes through it perfectly. And there you can pretty much see how the stream of it, when it throws it, it keeps it, kind of stays tight and together, and it doesn't really throw back a lot of powder at you. But it's kind of hard to tell though, because this actually is a damp snow that's pretty heavy and stuff. So you know, each snowstorm may be a little bit different, but I'll make some videos of them as I go along this season. So you can see here what I mean by how I broke it up differently using this machine. I basically started up in the middle here and worked my way back down to the garage, and then I turned around and went out to the other side. And I did a couple passes on that hill to start out with, and then I'm going to go back and clean the rest of that up. And it's good though that I can get it will actually blow right over across the driveway, so I don't have to worry which way I blow it too, because usually the wind comes out of the west, and I'm best to blow it off to the left there like you see I'm doing. With the other Aaron, sometimes it was hard to get it to blow over there, and you wound up blowing more into the wind, which caused more, caused you to get more snow on you. So this actually I'm real happy with it so far. I just can't wait to get into some big drifts and stuff with it, because I think it's really going to be a monster. And it really is the perfect size blower for this little tractor. I think it's small enough that it's really maneuverable and it doesn't stick out too far or anything, and just a little bit heavy for it, but I'll fix that by getting a little more weight on the front there. But it really it just, you can see it goes through that stuff at the end of the road just like nothing's there. It really is fun to use. The amazing part is that this blower just cost about the same as the Aaron's did, and basically you're lucky with the Aaron's blower for the last year of the season, where this thing here is with all the cast iron gearbox and everything else. If you have a tractor or something like this, it's really a lifetime blower with I don't see any problems really in sight, as long as you just keep the gearbox in oil and you change out, or you actually grease up the PTO shaft every once in a while. Thinking with a little bit of practice here, I'll be able to get this down. It'd be a pretty quick job too. It looks like it really will just take 4 passes to clean up the entire driveway here. Each pass is about 4 feet wide. I figure with a little bit of overlap, I should be able to get about 14 foot wide out of 4 passes once I get practiced up. Now here I am just going back and cleaning up a little bit more of that hill going down to the pole barn. Figured it wouldn't take that much time to do, so I wound up clearing out that whole side of the hill with this thing too, just having fun. And you can see it doesn't really throw it. It won't throw it 50 feet like some of those little machines will, but it throws it well. It'll throw it 25, 30 feet. You can see there, and it just it doesn't slow down. It's just, you know, it's constant. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't plug up. It just keeps going. I must say, it's a really good feeling to get a machine that's not all screwed up from the start, and that actually is in good shape when it arrives and actually works right when you hook it up. That doesn't seem to happen to me all the time anymore. So it didn't take long to clean up the hill there, and then I just decided to go back and seeing how it was so easy to do, just widen everything out down by the garage there, and that actually would give me a lot of room to do across the front. So just did a couple of passes back there on the side, and opened that up a little bit more, which is really more than I ever did with the little machine, because it just took too long. So then when I was done with that, I just decided to just go across to my front yard a couple passes. My puppies really like to have green grass to go out on in the winter time. It makes them do their duty a little bit faster and stuff, and kind of helps them because they like to smell around in the grass and stuff before going. So I just decided to do a couple passes here, and you can see that basically I did 3 passes there, and gave me about a 12-foot wide spot for them to go on. That once the sun hits it, it'll be all green grass again. So that made it real easy to clean up an area for them too, to keep them happy. And the last area I had to do is just go back and do a little bit of cleanup around the garage. And this machine, you can see here that it's really a nice size. You can get it right up against stuff and get it in tight spots and stuff. And it actually did fit all the way across the front of my steps there, so I could pretty much eliminate most shoveling. So I did this, and then after I got all done with this, I just did a couple of really quick passes up the driveway just to clean up any little lumps or anything that I had missed by when I overlapped and stuff like that. So, and there you see I can go right up across my bricks there, no problem. These skids actually just glide right up over it and stuff, so I'm really happy they put the really big nice skids on here. The only thing I have to do is I do have to drop it back down so I get that extra 1.5 inches of snow you can see there that it's leaving behind, and I'm sure that that'll work fine. There you see it does fit in nice tight spots. And it does turn out that it's not so hard looking back, because you just kind of have to look over your shoulder, and when you're looking back there's absolutely no snow or anything hitting you, and that plastic actually stayed pretty nice and clear there, so I was really happy the way that worked out. Thought I might have had to put a heater on it or something to keep it clear, but you know, it did stay good enough to be able to see through it. You can see the corners there actually got a little bit of snow on them, but the center stayed nice and clear. So I'm definitely not going to put the camera on it for now unless I see I have a problem later. So in the end, there it is. See, a little bit of that wet snow is stuck into it, but there's nothing in the chute there basically. The winch motor did work good. That shield did catch basically all the snow that would have hit me. You can see there the seat's really nice and dry, and that whole area is real dry. The dash does have snow on it, but luckily it didn't get on the operator. And here you can pretty much see where I wound up wiring that winch motor into the work light plug on the back. That was 20 amps, and that actually did wind up working out good in the end. And that little remote I'm going to be replacing, but it did do a really good job. It got in where I needed it to get in, and it, you know, fit perfectly, so it's actually the perfect size for the machine and for the driveway. So far it looks like I'm real happy with it. I was kind of gun shy after having 2 bummer new Aaron's machines, but in the end it looks like this one's really going to work out good. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.